Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the second edition of the At Noon Afternoon. I am your host for today, the project manager Stijn. Last week we showed all of you the first beginnings of the game we have been working on recently. While you're here, a story about Nora, a woman living on her own in the middle of Oregon in the 1974, who has a chance encounter with a stranger who one day knocks on her door, and the story that results from that. Today we will be showing you the progress we have made since then, a further live demo which I will show in a bit. However, I will not be doing that alone just yet. I have here with me three of our lead members of our development teams, and I think I will let them introduce themselves, starting from the back and moving my way here.
My name is Yusuf, 24 years old. I am a student here at the HAN, and I am the programming lead at Noon Studios.
I'm Jasmijn. I'm the art lead and I'm doing my minor here at the HAN.
Hi, I'm Noelle and I'm the game design lead, and my team is what you can call, I guess, the mind behind the structure of the game, the story and the characters.
Yes, indeed. And later you'll be hearing from them as they talk about some of the decisions and the challenges they've come across during the development of what we have so far. However, first I think it's best if we simply show you what we have. So we have prepared a demo video that we'll be showing you now.
Welcome back to Rock & Roll FM.
Again, tomorrow, prepare yourselves for a rainy day here in Oregon. We have a big storm coming in from the Pacific. We'll see rain on the coast during the morning, and as the day passes, it'll move eastwards. So avoid leaving your house unless absolutely necessary. State authorities have recommended the avoidance of driving due to dangerous conditions during the storm. I don't understand why they make the effort of making these announcements when they already know that they control the weather. But still, follow them. We don't want accidents, so be careful. And speaking of accidents, the police department has labeled the disappearance. We're having a lot of these lately, if you ask me. If I were the police, I'd stop being scared and call it by its name. Serial killer! If our police department wasn't filled with fat,
Donut-eating
Okay, well, that was our demo that we have shown. As you can see, this was a showcase of what Nora will be doing. What Nora, the kind of task that you will be doing during the day. You will be entering the mind of Nora as she goes throughout her day, performs various tasks, and as she performs those tasks, the time will move, as you may have seen with the sky moving and all that. Now, to talk a little bit about those questions, about what you have just seen, about the creation process behind it, I'm going to turn first to my personal programming lead. He's mine.
So yeah, what you saw in the first demo is like the items were floating around when you pick them up. Now we have created a scriptable object. It's something in Unity to use like you can set like rotation and position, and with that you can like say I want to pick up the log like this way, or I want to hold it like to my side. It will be like it's being worked on continuously to improve, but like yeah, that's like a basic stuff for the interaction system and picking up stuff.
And while we're creating this, presumably, like you may have noticed. Oh yeah, well there some concept art and such will be playing in the background while we talk. Like well, while you and your team have been working on this, you've presumably made some unified systems. How hard / easy was it to, like, because you have a fairly large team, how did the process go for you guys to ensure that everyone sticks together and everyone gets communicate with other teams and such?
It was more like assigning tasks to the programmers, and like one of the tasks was like interaction system, and like the programmers are like very creative sometimes, and yeah, they created like the interaction system, and one of the programmers thought, oh wait, I want to set a position for the items I am holding, so he created a script for that and a scriptable object, and everyone who like has the script in his branch or in his demo can use it and like for various items.
Okay, thank you. I think okay. Well, one of the major upgrades that has been made in this demo, in comparison to what we have shown previously, was the visuals, very much so. So I think in order to talk about that, I'd like to speak to Jasmijn a bit, because well, while making this, as I've said, the game of course takes place not in a recent time or a nearby time or a nearby place. So it takes place in Oregon in the 70s. So how did like the research process for you guys go? Have you looked a lot into that kind of stuff?
Yes, for making the different assets, we looked into both for character design, the fashion, and for all the objects, we looked into what kind of objects did they have. Would it make sense for either Nora's parents or grandparents to also have items still there? So we're looking at items from the 70s, 50s, and 60s and see what would fit.
Okay. And sorry. While you are going through that process, of course, again, just like programming, you have a decent amount of people in your team. How did you go about like making sure that you stay on one page, having like a unified art style and stuff like that? How do you keep that together?
Each of our artists has their own specialization, and then we have one person who is like responsible for the texture and materials, which they will mainly create most of the materials, and then everyone makes sure it kind of looks alike, and if it doesn't, we just change so it fits together more.
Very adaptable as well, of course,
Yeah.
as needed. Because again, you also need to communicate with the other teams. But okay. Then let's move on to the to Noel here. If we actually 1 second, there should be something coming up in just a bit that I think our team would like.
So this sprint we focused on the character design for the main character Nora. You can already see some of the sketches. We had a sort of like focused team of a combination of artists and design people, and then with that we looked at how Nora is as a person, and then combining that with the knowledge from what we could find in research from the 70s, like what would she wear, what kind of hair does she have, and what would make sense for Nora. And also a bit of the stranger, but he's not finalized yet. You can already see him appear every now and then on the big screen. But for Nora, it comes down to that she dresses very practically. So it's just normal jeans, jacket, and just nothing that gets in the way. And she has half long hair, a bit shoulder length, in a lot of layers, because that was a thing in the 70s. So we looked into the fashion, and then from that created what works both with Nora as a person and what fit in that time.
Okay, thank you. And speaking of Nora as a person, I think that's a great segue to move on to the next team, because they have, of course, as the design team, they have kind of a dual responsibility as both gameplay designers and narrative designers, since it is, of course, a narrative-focused game. So, Noel, well, since we're on the topic of Nora, maybe you can start off by telling a bit about how you and your team looked into Nora and really got into her mindset and stuff like that.
Yeah, we've done a lot of research into, well, also the 70s and how people acted back then. Nora, of course, lives on her own in the woods, so we've, well, done research into how someone would act when they're on their own and how they go about their day and stuff like that. So that's a lot of things about her character also come back in the way she looks, mainly, yes.
Okay. And one thing we would like to show, if we could perhaps scroll back through the to the storyboard that is included in this little demo reel. Yes, thank you. Yeah, but so like I said, you're already also working on the narrative part, not just characterization. And to do so, your team is making these storyboards. Could you perhaps tell us a bit about how that goes and what you look into?
Yeah, so the storyboards that you can see on the big screen, we figured out the flow of the first day. The player starts in the cabin and they sit around the table and they see a task or a notebook on the table on which the objectives are written, so they know what they're supposed to be doing. Once they grab the notebook, they will go outside and chop wood so they can well, start a fire inside. So they chop wood and bring the fire, the wood inside. Then they can start a fire, and both the fire starting and the chopping wood are both mechanics that the player can execute. They will learn it over time because they will be doing a lot of times over the, well, duration of the game. Once they've started the fire, they will be able to boil water so they can drink tea. During both the drinking of the tea and chopping wood, they will be able to get some information about Nora's well, life and her past and stuff like that, because since Nora's alone, she talks a lot to herself out loud, and she has also a lot of inner thoughts. And by hearing these pieces of information, you learn about her story and about the game as a whole. Yeah, and once she has, well, drank her tea, she will move on to, well, listening to the radio, which she does a lot because that's like her only way of, well, active interaction with the outside world, pretty much. And on the radio, the player will hear stories about people that have gone missing, which will start ringing a bell for the player. They're like, maybe I should be more careful. So they might want to take their axe with them inside, just in case, you never know. And then they will go to bed. And yeah, we've also shown a teaser a little bit of the next day, in which the stranger, as we call him, it's a man that well, randomly comes to her house, which the player will also be like a little wary about, since they've all heard the news about, well, missing people, so they might be a little bit scared about, you know, their surroundings. So yeah, we showed a little, well, sneak peek, I guess, for the second day when the stranger comes.
Yes, indeed. As you can tell, the team has put a lot of thought into this whole process, because almost everything she said was basically just the start of the game. And I know you've also been thinking ahead a lot before. I've seen you work on it, so little tease indeed. A lot of thought has gone into it and continues to go into it. Now, we have spoken with each three of my guests. However, I do have a little surprise bonus guest, so who is going to talk to us about a little bit about the sound design and show some teasers. So pull up a chair, I'd say.
All right. Yeah, I suppose I'll just stand here. I don't know what's best.
You can maybe join me at the table, or
I'll sit on the table. Yeah, why not?
Sure thing. Not what I said, but for sure thing.
This works. Yeah, all right. In a bit, we'll play a clip of some audio that we've been making over the past few weeks. Last week, we only showed a little bit of temporary audio that we used for the demo, not any music, OSTs, anything like that. So for now, we'll have some snippets of possible OSTs, but also just some experimenting with sounds, which I hope is going to be put on right now. All right, so those were the 5 snippets that I handpicked from the ones that we've created. There is more, but we didn't want to show too much just yet. To give a short explanation, there were some descriptions already. The first soundtrack we made, we were actually quite proud of, so that might end up becoming it. Can't confirm anything though. As for the intense ones, of course, there's 2 characters in the game. We don't know what's going to happen yet, but if anything were to happen, if it gets a little bit more tense or a bit scary, then those themes were to play, the last 2. Yeah, that's all I have to say, so I'm going to go back to being the producer.
Calm down. Okay, well, thank you. That was Jim, by the way. He never introduced himself. So, well, that was all I had to, all the leads had to talk about for today. However, I would like to give a little sneak peek into the organizational process in a way, because we, of course, each of our teams, they keep like a some sort of mood board, that's how Art often calls it, stuff like that, where they post inspiration, plans, stuff like that. And of course, our programmers also make great use of it. So I thought we'd show what exactly they are putting on it. As you can see, hard at work. And on that little light note, I think I would like to now begin a little Q&A section. So if anyone does have any questions, please feel free. Yes.
Are the tasks you perform, are they connected to the story in some way?
They are connected to. Oh, sorry. For the listeners at home.
They should be able to hear it.
Oh,
so
did we
you can
hear
just
it?
answer.
Okay. Yes, the tasks are connected to the story. The tasks we were doing on like the first 2 days mainly have to do with, well, showing how Nora goes about her day, and other tasks may have to do with more like once the stranger arrives.
Okay.
Okay. Any further one? Any further questions? Yes.
Okay, so for the sound, for Jim, you guys made quite some music and some different styles. Is there any way you're gonna make the music have a melody or something to carry it through the different songs?
Are you asking about the leitmotif?
Are you asking about like perpetual music so that it plays throughout the whole game?
No, so like you have different songs, and are those songs gonna be some way connected to each other via melody? Because I did not hear.
Are you referring
Not
to
necessarily something we've looked into yet, but that is something we could look into.
Okay.
I believe you may be referring to something along the lines of a leitmotif or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Well, our sound team is always experimenting and keeps trying new things, so perhaps in the future. Okay, any other questions? I can't see the entire audience right now. Yep, from chat.
A question from Niels in chat, mainly aimed at art and game design. Nora has a design, but do you actually see her in the game, since you play in first person? It could add a bit of mystery to have to use your own imagination and reveal her face later on in the game.
I think that question will have to be repeated, so since the boom mic is a bit far away. But yeah, the question asked was about if you see Nora and leave things into. Oh.
I can,
yeah, sorry.
I
Go
can
ahead.
answer that question. Yes, you might see Nora at some point in the game. We have been thinking about implementing some kind of a mirror which could also be connected to something that happened in her past.
And whenever Nora is doing tasks, you will see her arms. So there's part of Nora is in the game.
Yes. Okay. Yes, Mace?
Throughout the demo, I noticed a lot of foliage and a lot of plants. Did the design team look into native species in Oregon to get inspiration for those?
We did look into what kind of trees, for example, grow in the regions of Oregon. So yes.
There will also be, currently there's birch trees, but they will also look into creating pine trees, as those are very oft common seen on like all the pretty pictures of Oregon. So
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, Nora's seen grabbing plants from the ground. Is there any, how do you say that? Differences if you do that or not will change the story? Why does she do that?
The scavenge part, as we call it, has to do with making the tea. Because, for example, you'll be using mint leaves, which aren't yet implemented, for creating the tea. She also has some kind of greenhouse, which you will take care of plants in. So yeah, in that sense, you will be using the things you gather to some extent.
But does the choice matter? What kinds of plants you use if you just give hot water instead?
It will impact some choices in the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any more questions? Yes, here in front.
Yeah, a question about the gameplay logic. Is there any? Can you tell me more about the gameplay that we haven't seen yet? So, for example, no, let me make it more concrete. So, when you do certain actions as Nora, will the gameplay, will the game react to this other than that you create something directly? So, say for example, if you create, if you pick up herbs, you can make tea. That's a very direct consequence. But is there also a more elaborate mechanism? So will the game also respond, for example, if you make tea 4 times a day, or I don't know, or if you, well, anyway, yeah.
Yeah, we haven't fully looked into that yet, whether you can use some mechanics multiple times per day. But if this answers your question, we will, there will be a cooking mechanic at some point, and for that the type of ingredients, I guess, would make a difference in what kind of food you cook.
Right. Okay. So I can see this, but actually my question was, will the story change based on your
well,
the things you do?
There will also be, which hasn't really been shown in the demo, there will be a dialogue system, so you will be interacting with, well, the stranger, and when you interact with certain objects, you will also be prompted with some type of dialogue that is either caused, well, by Nora just talking out loud, and you might be able to choose an option to progress that thought sequence she's in. So in that sense, it progresses the story. If that.
Yeah, nice. So you can offer the stranger tea if you have it, and otherwise
yes.
you might not be able. Okay. Do you already have this set up in Excel? I don't know, or something else. Doesn't matter.
My team is working on like branching narrative. So in that sense, yes, there's already like well, progress being made into that aspect.
Yeah, exactly like the storyboard we already shown. Like we've only shown part of it, but they're certainly being looked further into, like the overarching thing, and then as we work, it gets further and further detailed.
But of course, we're not going to show those branchings because it would spoil the game.
Okay, fair enough.
She's very careful about that. Okay, I think one last question would be nice. If anyone does have one. Yes.
I noticed you guys have like physics implemented in your demo. Are you actually planning on using like physics in some of your minigames, or was that just more for flavor?
Well,
yes.
Do you want to answer that?
Yeah, so like we are working like on chopping the wood or the logs. They have physics like when you like chop them 3 times, they will split in half. You will be able to see that kind of like, it's not very realistic, but it's like semi-realistic.
Yeah, certainly.
It's not static.
Certainly makes it feel more natural than if the same exact pieces of wood fell in the same exact way, hit in the same spot and stuff like that. Just make it feel a bit more real, you know.
Okay.
If that answers your question, I believe, unless anyone has any burning questions that they just came up with, I think that will be the end of the Q&A for today. And I don't see any, so I will also then move to the wrap up. I want to thank everyone for watching this edition of the At Noon Afternoon, and I'll be sure to see you in 2 weeks' time for the next one. Thank you for watching.